Namaste, namaste. Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today with you all on this first weekly satsang that I was planning for a very long time. And now I decided that we will be doing it on a weekly basis. And a little bit about why I took this decision now. I travel to so many countries, I teach so many people. They write to me in the form of emails, sometimes on Facebook messages. They try to contact some other friends of in their community, like who have also gone to my teaching, to ask some questions, to ask some guidance. And what happens is that often I respond to them, and sometimes it can be late. And by that time, you might have got the answer yourself, which is fine, which is very good. But also, there are many people I often hear that they were waiting for me to come back to their country to ask the question again. So, to prevent all those things, I would like to keep in touch with you regularly in a satsang every week on a Wednesday between 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening, Central European time. I live in Hungary, so in Hungarian time, 6 to 7 every Wednesday. So whatever the questions that you have, you can email to me. And the reason why I wanted to accept your questions on the email and not on the YouTube chat is because some people are shy and they don't want everybody to know that they are the one who are asking this question. So just to respect your privacy, it's better that you send the questions on the email so that it will be just between us and I will be able to read those questions and then answer to you about that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and let's start today. Also, before starting, I would like to tell you that I have received more than 43 questions. I'll be trying to pick as many as possible. But in case if I'm not able to answer your question this week, then it will be answered in the following weeks someday. Definitely, I will be covering all those questions. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Acharya Shree Shankar. I'm a spiritual teacher, and my teachings are based on Agama Tantras, Yogas, and Advaita. I make regular trips abroad to different countries for teaching, and I regularly teach across Europe mostly, and I go even out of Europe sometimes. But you are always welcome to send me email with your questions or something. As I said, it will be late, but that problem is getting sorted out now because we are doing these satsangs, and you can ask me these questions, and I will be happy to answer you. I hope you have the email, and let's start today. Let me take the questions. Let me just go to my email. Okay, that is the question. Dear Master, I have practiced a lot of asanas for the past 9 years. 90% asanas and 10% pranayama, which has given me a very good health, but still I cannot see much spiritual development as I feel the same human emotional issues. What is wrong with my practice and what is yoga? Okay, so there are two questions here. First thing is that you're asking me that you have practiced yoga for 9 years, which is very good, and you are mostly practicing asanas. As you tell me, it's 90% asanas and 10% pranayama, and you have very good health. But the only thing is, like, you're not able to feel that you are evolving spiritually, and you're facing issues with human emotional issues. So, what is wrong with your practice? This is what you were asking. And second one is like, what is yoga? I think I will make it as one answer. Both of the things, probably This might be a little bit longer, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands and they get uh, the answer. So first thing is like when we say yoga, for for most of the people, even today, uh, it's a problem that they think yoga means asanas. Yoga is not asana. Yoga is asana is part of yoga. Asana itself is not yoga. So most of the times when people are asking like, "Hey, you're practicing yoga," another person says like, "Yes, I'm practicing yoga. I just practiced like 1.5 hours of yoga. Now I'm coming out of my yoga classes." So there is a big misconception that asanas is yoga, but asanas is part of yoga. And for that one, I would suggest everybody to watch one of my satsangs on Ashtanga Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Or sometimes I can give even that discourse and I can record it and I can upload it for you to understand about the Ashtanga Sutras. Or you can even read about Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So in that one, it's not just about asana. It's yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So to go to samadhi, there are different stages that you have to pass. The first one is about the yama. Yama is about more like a code of conduct or kind of like ethical restraints. So that's how we can call it as. I would simply call it as codes of conduct. So in that one comes like ahimsa, which is non-violence, satya, being truthful always, asteya, which is like not stealing, stealing in the sense like not just objects of someone, stealing someone's trust, stealing someone's time. All these things are asteya. Brahmacharya, which is continence, aparigraha, which is non-attachment. So this is part of all these five things constitutes one single path, which we call as yama. So second one is like a niyama. So niyama is more like personal observance because it's about how we take care of ourselves, like saucha, which is cleanliness, santosha, which is happiness or being or contentment, being happy with what you have, and tapas, which is following certain discipline in life. Then swadhyaya is there, which is about self-study, like you dig into some subjects and you study yourself by showing your interest into it. And ishvara pranidhan, which is about surrendering yourself to divine. So you surrender your ego. That's what it means, like when you surrender yourself to divine. So this is about yama, and this is niyama. So next one is asana. So asana is nothing but the physical postures that you follow, like all this virabhadrasana, many other asanas what you learn, and what people typically call as yoga, that is yogasanas, that is coming now as the third step according to Patanjali. So, and why people were practicing yogasanas in the past was because if you want to become a yogi, if you want to go towards that samadhi, then you need to sit for a very long time, sitting in silence. So you have to get prepared for that one. So that's why originally asanas were designed for you to, like stay comfortable in your body, making it capable of sitting for very, very, very long times. And also like tuning your mind and to know that it's the mind which has limitation and not yourself. And that you can learn through asanas also. Because the first time when you have gone to any yoga classes, when you see those kind of asanas, you feel like, wow, this is impossible to me and I can't do it. It's just not possible to me. It is possible for everyone. And this is what I tell to all of my students around the world, that if I can do something, then you can do better than me. And that is really true. You can do better than me, better than me. And why I'm saying that is because if you believe, if you make your mind that you can do it, you can do better than me, then you will really able to manifest it. You have to believe in it and then you will manifest it. And all this mental tuning and everything can happen with asanas. That's what it removes a kind of boundary for you to believe more in yourself. And then comes pranayama, which is like, you are regulating your pranic forces with intentions. That is intentional regulation of your breathing. So you breathe in and breathe out. Then you try to calm your mind. You will try to expand your life force, which is what we call as like prana. You try to, when you go very deep into pranayama in a very advanced stage, then you will not be just breathing the air through your nostrils, because you will be breathing through your kundalini also, with the ida and the pingala nadi, which is a metaphysical subtle nerves where your pranic forces move in your kundalini. So that is what can happen with pranayama. And next comes the pratyahara, which is about withdrawal of the senses, which means like, you know when something is going on in life, like we always try to get involved in that, but we don't witness it. Witnessing is different, and getting involved in something is different. If mind is trying to manipulate you, you can get manipulated, get into it, and you are disturbed. Or you can just watch what mind is thinking, what it is asking you to do, and then you will simply witness it. You are not participating in that. So that is a different type of yogic experience, and that practice is what we call as like pratyahara, like keeping your mind withdrawn from the external world or all the distractions that is happening. So once you go to that pratyahara, next one is like dharana. So dharana is something what you see mostly in Trataka meditations. So Trataka meditation, they have a fire or they have an object. They see that, they jump, they chant, they do such kind of things, but having focus on only one single thing. It can be fire, it can be an idol, it can be a sculpture, it can be anything, but just one thing, one focus on one thing. It's a concentration on one point or one object or one mental image. There is also Shambhavi Mudra Dhyana, like wherein you look up and you fix a point there and you start to chant by imagining that Om is coming out of your third eye and the throat, and from all pores of your body. So this is also one of the meditation that falls under this category, what we call as dharana. So it's a single point focus or an object. It can be anything, but there should be a concentration here. And this is very important. I'm underlining this word concentration, because what we go next after dharana um, is something interesting, and that is what we call as dhyana, which is meditation. So people think a meditation means like it's a focus, it's having something in mind, focusing on one particular thing, thinking about thing. But no, meditation is not that. In meditation, you are lost in the sense like you are not doing meditation, or you don't know that meditation is happening. That is the beauty of meditation. You're completely like, the mind is completely absorbed. It's completely absorbed in that state, and you are able to be in that state for a very long time, being absorbed in that one. And you are not losing any, losing your mind in that particular time, in the sense that you are not trying to think something else, get distracted. Nothing is happening. You're just like thoughtless, desireless, nothing in that moment. You're just in a kind of satori, which is like mini enlightenment, or completely withdrawn from anything that is happening, just in silence. That is what Buddha calls it as silence. So, in that silence, if you manage to reach, and that's what we truly call as meditation. There are many meditation techniques which we have to explain, which we have to follow. Those are fine, completely fine. But the real meditativeness, and meditation is a technique. Meditativeness is a state in which we end up finally. So this is something like what we call as meditation. And then what happens as a consequence of following all these seven steps is samadhi, which is enlightenment. So that nirvana, or whatever you would like to call it as, it's like where your consciousness merges with the whole of universal consciousness, and you lose that identity, what you identify yourself as self, that disappears. So this is what happens in like Ashtanga Yoga Sutra. So if you're following all these things, then you can go out of that emotional problems that you are mentioning. I will read your question once again. So these human emotional issues, and yeah, like I mean, you can go out of that and you can evolve spiritually. But as of now, as you're saying, like 90% asanas and 10% pranayama, I think asanas are too much. I think if you have practiced so much for the past 9 years, you don't need so much of asanas anymore. Make it like 10-20% and try to follow other things also. Add more dharana into it, more dhyana into it, more focus, more meditation, some pratyaharas. There are different practices for all these steps. And read that book, Ashtanga Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where you have this yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Someone might have translated, or in my own channel, like I have given discourses on that. Listen to it in detail and try to make practices out of it, and then you will be able to feel that you're evolving. I mean, like, you should not feel it, because if you're feeling something, which means like ego is still active. But what I'm saying is that something starts to happen. Everything should be based on experience, rather than someone telling you about it. So experience that. Try to add dharana, dhyana, and pratyaharas into your practices. Increase the pranayama a little bit more, and then let's come back to it. So you asked what is yoga. So this is yoga, and I can speak much more things about yoga, because yoga is not just about this Ashtanga Yoga Sutras itself. There is Bhakti Yoga also. If you just devote yourself to God, that is also Bhakti Yoga. There is Guru Nanak, who founded Sikhism. He never did any yoga. He never did any meditation. He never did any of those kind of practices that we know. But he was singing. He was singing the name of God. He was singing all the devotional songs to the God, and he sang so deeply that all of his songs became meditation, and his bhakti became his yoga. And that was bhakti yoga, or nada yoga, like the yoga of the music. And he got enlightened with that path. So there are different yogas. Like, someone can be interested in acquiring a lot of wisdom, like Nana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga. There are different types of yogas. Since you are practicing this yoga, this is what I would like to suggest: that since you are on the yogic path already, try to follow all the other steps also, and you will be able to come out of those emotional issues. Thanks for your question. Okay, and let's go to the second question. I'm happy most of the time during the day, and maybe sometimes I'm not that happy because of what happens in life. What is the difference between happiness and bliss? Okay, okay. Thanks for your question. Okay, so you're asking, you are telling me that most of the time you are happy, which is very good, and maybe sometimes you are not happy because what happens in life. What is the difference between happiness and bliss? I think answer is pretty much there in your question itself. And why I'm saying that is because you're asking me the difference between happiness and bliss. Between happiness and bliss, there is only one difference. If your happiness is because of a reason, if you ask someone like, "Oh, you're looking so happy today. What happened? What happened in your life which made you so happy now?" And they will tell you, like, probably I met a old friend of mine, or I got promoted in my job, or I got this, I got that, I had the best food of my life, I went for vacations, I did this, I did that. So everybody, when you call it as happiness, you have a reason to be happy, and there is a reason for that happiness. And without that reason, you cannot be happy, because at that point in time, your happiness is dependent on a particular fact. But when we speak about bliss or divine joy or something, there is no reason to be happy at all, because as long as there is only happiness, then there is something which is polar opposite of happiness, which is sadness. Because there was a reason, you are happy. What if there was no reason for you to be happy? Then you would be sad. So that is the difference between happiness and bliss. Because in happiness, you always have a reason to be happy. And being blissful means you don't have a reason to be happy, but still you are happy. So these are the two different things and that we have to know. And why bliss is very difficult to attain. It's very difficult because it's about evolution of our consciousness. Because if we evolve in consciousness, then all we try to understand is that no matter what happens in life, everything is going to be fine at the end. And there is one more thing. There is some force behind us which knows better than us what is good for us, what is better for us, and it is always making decision for us. So we don't need to um, think about something or like predict like, okay, this could have been better, it could have been like this, it could have been like that. No, we don't need to do that at all. That is what I said, that you need to surrender to the God in this way. And if we surrender to the God, if we surrender to the universe, or whatever you want to call it as, whatever you want to call the power, or whatever you believe in, or whatever you want to call that particular thing as, then you will always be happy, because you know that what is happening with you now, currently, you might feel happy or sad about it. But if you're feeling sad about it, yeah, that is your understanding at this point in time. But maybe few years down the line, you will be able to understand what was happening with you, why it was happening, and why it was good that it happened that way. So that you might not understand it today, and there is no need for you to understand it today. Let it happen what is happening. This too shall pass. Whatever happens happens for good. Maybe we don't know it today, but we will know it someday. So let's allow the things to happen. And once you come to this conclusion, then you will start to see something happening, because you don't have expectations anymore. You're just accepting everything the way how it is. Whatever is happening, it's fine for you. And then you will see whatever happens is a benediction, because you don't have expectations anymore. So that's what I would like to tell you. If you would like to experience the bliss, stop taking control of everything and think about only those things what is in your control. And what is not in your control, don't even think about it, don't even care about it. Just leave it. Let existence take care of that, and you don't need to worry about it. Now, let me go to the third question. All the yogis are vegetarians. Is it necessary to be a vegetarian for spiritual evolution? Okay, this is a good question, because most of the time yogis have this question, especially when there are people in the Western world who are predominantly eating meat. So for them to stop it, or there can be some kind of dilemmas in their mind, like, no, it was my food for many years. Like, how can I let it go? How can I leave it? I totally get that. I understand that. Well, like here is what I would like to say about it. There is no particular scripture or anything which mentions anything about it. Okay, having said that, of course, like in Ayurveda, there is, like sattva, rajasic, and tamasic, like three different types of foods. And meat always falls under like rajasic food, which makes you more aggressive and everything. But why are they saying that one? So let's not try to advocate vegetarianism or meat eating or nothing, but I will just give you my perspective why yogis follow vegetarian diet. See, like when you eat meat of an animal, whatever emotions the animal is having, whatever the karmas that was there in the flesh of that animal, in the DNA of that animal, if you take those suffering and if you take that animalistic things into your body, then you are feeding your body with that. And food is not a small thing. What you eat is something that is nourishing you, and with that nourishment comes, like your thinking and your thoughts. And with your thoughts, your actions will be shaped, and with your actions, the consequences will be there. It's not that all the meat eaters are, bad and like vegetarians are good. That there is nothing like that. For example, if you see, Jesus was eating meat, Muhammad was eating meat, all these people, Buddha was eating meat. All these people were perfectly enlightened. But the most one of the most cruelest man on the planet was Adolf Hitler. But he was a vegetarian. So this is not a question of vegetarian versus non-vegetarian or whether it's eating meat or not. The first thing is to understand the fact of ahimsa, which means non-violence. If someone has the violent, that kind of mindset of killing an animal for the sake of food, then that very, very, very idea created a lot of violence in them. That thought which makes you to kill something, take the life of something when you're not capable of giving a life to something, then that creates a lot of aggression in you. And secondly, like if you think on a energetic level, if you're eating the meat of an animal, then you also become like that animal, because now the part of the animal is part of your own body. So if you're taking that one, then you become just like that. So that is the reason like why yogis don't eat the meat. And coming to like another side of the argument also, because often there are people who tell you that plants and trees also have life. Of course it has life. And if you're eating fruits or vegetables or something, they might say that like, yeah, you're killing it too. Of course you're killing it too. But in this dimension, there are two things to say. First thing is like the animalistic instincts, what you get after eating animal is not the same thing that you get when you eat vegetarian foods. It's a very different thing because they are all very sattvic in nature, which makes you like more calm, more comfortable within yourself. Mind is very peaceful. You operate from a very different level of consciousness compared to eating meat and functioning in this world. And secondly, like there is a religion by name Jainism. Mahavir Jain was the guru, like who started Jainism, or after him, this Jainism came into picture. And this is the most peaceful religion on the planet. There is no more peaceful religion than Jainism. Jainism is the most peaceful one. Why I'm saying this one is because in Jainism, the Jains don't eat anything which comes with a root, because if you cut the root, then it is dead. So that's why they don't eat anything that comes with the root. Anything without the root, they eat those type of vegetables. And also, like when we speak about like killing an animal and killing a plant, it's still not the same, because when people cut an animal, it's dead, it's gone forever, right? But when you cut in, like a fruit coming from the tree, it's just falling down from the tree. And even without, like anyone interfering, it's just falling down. And after that apple falls down, there will be one more apple which will be coming back after some time. So it's not that like it's a dead, because it's alive and it's still going on. The process is going on. But if you cut a chicken or any animal, it's dead. It will not come back again once again. So it's not the right comparison of killing an animal and killing a, any tree-based plants or something. So if someone is like so much conscious about being very strict vegetarianism, then stick to Jain meals. Okay, like then you cannot have guilt, because I have spoken to a lot of people that a lot of spiritual people have this guilt, which they don't need to have. But if you really have that, then follow Jain diet, so that you will not be killing something forever, but something which comes back again and again. Um, okay. What is next question? Thanks for this question. What is real love? I can love a few, but not everyone. Okay. So, what is love? That's a very good question, because love cannot be explained so easily. And that is the reason why Jesus called love is God. Because love is very misunderstood today in this world, which is I love you and you love me back. And many people, when they say I love you, they're just waiting for the other person to say, like, "Oh, tell me I love you back." Whether it's a parent or sibling, or between children and parents, or between husband and wife, or everywhere. But love is a deep state of awareness, deep state of consciousness. And love is not just about exchanging greetings. Love is much more than that one. And why we call as like divine love or unconditional love. And that is what you were asking, like, what is real love? Real love for me is unconditional love, which means, like, if I have to explain to you by giving you a very simple example, just go out and watch when it rains. Okay, just be on the top of the building if it's possible, and just watch when it rains in the middle of the city somewhere, especially if you're in a big city. This will be a beautiful experience to you. And when you see it's raining throughout the city, then you will observe one thing, that it's raining on you first of all, because you are on the top of the building, as I said. It's raining on vehicles. It's raining on the streets. It's raining on the homeless person somewhere sitting there. It's raining on the prison, like which might be in your city. It's raining on some, like some convicts who are prisoners who are inside. It's raining on the temple. It's raining on the birds. It's raining on the mountains. It's raining everywhere. And rain is not discriminating that I will not touch you or I will not go on your body because you are not the person like whom I like. It rains on everyone. In the same way, love is strength. Love comes from strength. Love doesn't come from weakness. From weakness, many things can come, but love comes from strength. You need to have the strength to love. So why you cannot love someone is because they're doing something which you don't like, or probably you are irritated by their presence, or they are not nice to you, or whatever it is. But observe one thing. When I was telling you all these things, I was telling they. I use this word they, which means they were not nice to you. They were not friendly to you. They did not do something what you want them to do, or they were not pleasant to you. So this word they has to be in inverted commas. And why I'm saying that is because it is it is coming from their side and not from your side. They are capable of doing those things because that is what they can give. There is difference between a king, and there is a difference between a beggar in the same kingdom. The difference is simple, that king can give anything to anybody. Why? Because he has that abundance. And from his abundance, he is able to give anything to anybody, whatever you are asking. But when it comes to a beggar, he cannot give anyone anything because he doesn't have it. He doesn't have anything to give. But the king has the capacity to give, and that's why he can give. So you should be that king. You should have that immense amount of love within you, that infinite amount of love within you. And your perception should not change about others based on how they treat you or based on how they react towards you. There are people, when we are meeting several people in the day, this is not just for you or like others, like it's the same experience for everybody, including myself, including everybody. There are people like who like us, there are people like who don't like us, there are people like who hate us for some or the other reason. You cannot be good for everybody. You cannot be the hero for everyone. No one has convinced everybody in this whole world. No Krishna, no Buddha, no Christ, no Laosu, no Confucius, nobody. Everybody had someone who criticized them, who didn't like them, who were mocking them and everything. But the difference is, but they didn't do the same thing back to those people who were not liking them. They were doing completely opposite of it. They were still loving. And that is why Jesus Christ says that you should love your enemies. When he says that, which means he's saying that like what you are is the same what the other person is also. And even you, me, I, they, all these are just a play of words in one way. In essence, like everything is one. And when we are saying everything is one, then we have to put it into action. And that action is nothing but having that consciousness of love. And that consciousness is what I call as love. Once you have the deeper consciousness, deeper awareness of who you are and what you are capable, then you can give love to anybody. And that is very important, to give what you have. And I'm telling you, you have that abundance inside you right now. You have that abundance. It's not that someone can give you. No one can give you love. Don't ask for love because you don't need love. You have love inside you, and you are love. Trust me, you are love. That's what you need to realize within yourself, that you are love. This is what I say in all the satsangs, that when they ask me like, uh, we want to be loved. Don't ask for love. You are loved by the divine always. And if you're just a little bit conscious about that divinity, you will be able to receive that love without even asking. Become conscious of it. Right now, if you close your eyes and just think nothing about it, just feel thankful to what you have and just be thankful for just that silence within you. When you just close your eyes, just be thankful to it. You will receive that blessings. You will. That is the benediction that I'm talking about. You don't need to be loved because you are love. Share that love unconditionally, whoever it is, whatever it is, because it is coming from you. And when I say you, that is the love, what I am talking about. So that is a real love. And that is the consciousness that I'm talking about. Let's go to the next question. Can chakras be scientifically proven? Do they exist? That's a good question. Look, science is a tool of investigation, and science is not a gatekeeper of reality. And when I say this, what I mean is that science investigates. When something happens, it investigates, but it's not gatekeeping a reality. It is just an investigator. Until COVID-19 came, nobody were investigating what is COVID-19. But once it happened, everybody started to investigate it. Whether that COVID-19 was really true or not, that's a different story. Let's not go there. But I'm just giving you an example of when something happens, of course, like science will try to investigate it, investigate what is there, what's around. But it's not gatekeeping any reality here. Okay. And when you ask, like in whether chakras are real or scientifically proven, do they exist or something like that, I just tell you only one thing, that I'm sure like everybody are spiritual people here. So either they are coming from yogic backgrounds or tantric backgrounds, because that's my teaching. So I assume that one of the backgrounds you will have as your tradition. So, blind belief is actually considered as a very low form of faith. It's a very low form of faith. And what is considered in the yogic traditions and tantric traditions as a superior form of faith is what we call as like anubhava, which is experience, your own direct experience. And second one is about gnana, which is about knowledge or wisdom. I would even go one step forward to put one more thing, which is, Vijnana, which is like science of it also. So when I'm saying like Anubhava and Gnana and Vijnana or Pragnana, wisdom, that is also very important, because knowledge is like just getting stuff from everywhere. Read books, speak to people, get the knowledge. But when you experience it, and that's what I call as Anubhava, so once you have that direct experience, then you will be able to know it, like what's going on in you. What is that big transformation that you are going through? What changes are happening in you? Whether this existed before, or this is just an hallucination that you are seeing now, or really something is changing within you. And then one day, like science will be able to make many experiments on that and investigations on that. Like just for example, in Bhagavata Purana, which is one of the sacred holy books, where they speak about a magnetic sheath around our solar system, which is 400,000 kilometers above and below it. It's like this around our solar system. So it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Purana that this is what is protecting us from various dangerous waves that always comes towards our solar system and our galaxy and everything. So when it was said in scriptures, like there was no scientific evidence at that point in time, because these were written thousands of years ago by a lot of yogis, like who could directly access the information from divine, and they were writing this kind of scriptures. So now what happened was, like in 2021, just 5 years ago, science was making several experiments. They sent several satellites into the space, and with so many satellites, they were able to track that there is some kind of radiations, like which is above the solar system, and which is also aiding us to move in a certain way and protecting us and everything. And the calculation of that one was 399,000 kilometers above the earth. So you see, like the scripture says 400,000 and the reality is 399,000. So it's not so big difference. It's like less than 0.01% difference. So that existed. That existed even before also, not just now. But now it got discovered. But back then it was not. So what I'm trying to say is that when science investigates, it takes time for everything, and they will find it eventually. So everything can be, like tested, and they can know it. That's why it needs time. But everything will be scientifically proven one day. If you want to experience this yourself, then try to practice chakra meditations or something, and you try to see for some time. I mean, like, if you just practice it once, and if you say that, like, no, I didn't feel anything, so maybe I am without any chakras, like, maybe possible that you are perhaps the only person who doesn't have any chakras. Which is nice, which is great. Well, that is not possible, it was just a joke, but practice it for certain period of time. And once you practice it, like, for a few months, and you see like what you are experiencing, because I don't want to put anything into your mind and right now, and I don't want to give you any concept, I don't want to give you anything right now. I just want to keep you as you are. But you see what you will experience. And if you experience something, then you can come back, and you can share your experience. Or if you have any questions or follow up questions on that, for sure, like, you can come back and ask. But for now, you try to experience yourself. And your experience is the only one that matters for you to give you an answer for it. Because it's not a theoretical answer, it's a practical answer. Thank you for your question. Mm, the scripture says to let go of desires, but desire is what brought me to spirituality. Brought me to, yes. Okay, the scriptures say to let go of desires, but desire is what brought me to spiritual path in the first place. How do I reconcile this? Hmm, that's a good question, but okay, I go from a little bit before, like, to speak a little bit about desires itself, because what you should understand about desire is that religion have confused this word very much, because every religion is against the desire. Like, you should not have any kind of desires, or moha loba, like kama krodha moha loba ahankaras, like these are like in a yogic sense. But I understand what you're asking. You must understand what desire means, because the whole religions have confused it, have made it very confusing for everybody. If you desire something of this world, then they call you as materialistic. You desire for the world, you desire for this, you desire for that. And if you desire for something which is not of this world, like spirituality, for example, they call it by other kind of names. Okay, but this is absurd, because for me, desire is a desire. And I have written an article which you can find on my website, like how to stop your mind, and how to reach, like, thoughtlessness. This is the article, and in that one I'm clearly saying that the more you try to stop your mind, the more it will drive you crazy, the more it will try to think more. So desire is desire. It makes no difference what the object of desire is, whether you are desiring for something on this planet, materialistic things, or whether you desire for something spiritual, as you said. Desire is the same, because there is something like a needing or wanting. Every desire is a kind of bondage. Even if you desire for God, even if you desire for enlightenment, liberation, nirvana, whatever you want to call it as, it is still a kind of bondage. It's still kind of like desire itself. There is not much difference between desiring something for the world, what we are here and what is there, and desiring something for what is not there. And liberation cannot happen unless because you are saying, like, you are in a spiritual path. So ultimately, for all the spiritual people, the end game is, or what they want to reach is liberation. What they want to reach is enlightenment. The liberation cannot happen unless these desires are existing. These desires should totally go away. So even desire for liberation should go away. Otherwise it is looking very contradictory for me. Like if someone tells you like desire for enlightenment is fine and you can have it and you should have it, it looks very contradictory, because any desire is a desire and that should not be there, because the nature of desire is the same. So it should not be there at all. You can become desireless, which means like you don't have any desire, and maybe after that liberation is possible. Liberation happens. And I have written article on this one also, and I've spoken about my own awakening some time back on a detailed video, like where I said that even the desire for liberation should fall down. Even the desire for everything should fall down. There should not be any desire at all. You should be in that kind of state, like where you don't hope for anything. There is no absolute desire. But if you drop the desire for even God, I told you now, like liberation is possible, and that is not result of your desire. Rather, it is a consequence of having no desire at all. So you have to understand what desire is. Desire means that right now you are not okay and you are not fine with what you have. That is why what you are doing is like you are trying to imagine what is there in the future. You're desiring for something what you don't have, what you want to get fulfilled with, and what brings you peace. And and what you are forgetting is that all those fulfillments are not in the present moment, they are in the future. Those fulfillment are not here, and none of these desires are here in this moment. Desires, all types of desires, are there in the future. So the tension of the mind for the future is desire. If you're understanding me, then like you should know it, like desire means like you are not in this moment. As I said, you are always in the future, and in that future, like you are happy. In the future you are getting something, so it's always like in the future, future, future. So the moment like you drop desire, which means like you bring your mind back to the present moment, and whatever is there in the present moment, you are feeling fulfilled about it. And the projection of your fulfillment somewhere in the future is what I call as desire. So what that fulfillment is irrelevant, is absolutely irrelevant. It can be like heaven, nirvana, or like or kingdom of God, or like whatever different religions calls it as, but it is all in the future. It is all a desire, and no desire can be in the present moment, and that is very important to understand. And if it is present, it can only be you cannot have the desire then, if you are in really in the present moment. So this is what I'm saying, like the desire always leads you to the fantasy world, it always leads you to the future, but it will never help you to be like in this present moment. So always like staying in this moment, in this present moment. And for that one, you don't need to desire for something, because desire is in the future. The happiness is in this moment. And what happens is like that too much thinking about desires which is going to happen in the future, you are spoiling the very happiness that you have in the current moment. So don't sacrifice your current moment for your future things, because future something will happen or not, we don't know. But currently, where you are now, you are listening to me right now, you are in the current moment, you are in the present moment. And this present moment you can be happy, and it's your choice. Everything is your choice in this moment. If you are making some decision, yes, it is going to be that. But if you're thinking about the future, what we don't know and what is not certain, then you're spoiling your current moment. You're losing that single opportunity of being happy right now. So that is why be in the now and don't be in the future. Okay, I will take one question. Okay, I will take one last question for today. In one of your lectures, you spoke about the spiritualization of the mind. If I remember correctly, in this context of Vipassana practice, does spiritualizing the mind mean training it to become less active and purer? Can this also be achieved through yoga practices such as pranayama and meditation technique? Okay, so this is a question from my own satsang where I use this word spiritualization of the mind, and I've used this word a couple of times, not just once. Spiritualization of the mind, and I say that one with meditation point of view. And here there is a question like if it's in the vipassana context, does it mean like making the mind to be reactive and purer? First, I will answer to this part of the question, and then I go to the second part. So, spiritualization of the mind, which simply means like keeping the mind in this moment, like what I was explaining just with the previous question, just being here and now, just having like very pleasant feeling, pleasant thoughts, which means like the thoughts that doesn't allow us to suffer, and the thoughts patterns also should come down, thinking, like trying to dig everything, trying to know everything, and all these things are happening just because the mind wants to keep you busy. The mind is giving a lot of ideas, and mind is working fully because mind cannot accept everything. Mind wants to accept only things that it wants to hear. So that is what is happening in the mind always. So pure spiritualization of mind, in the sense the mind is becoming less and less active. As you said, like you use the right word, like less reactive and purer. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's becoming less and less active. It's becoming more and more in the now, and it's completely withdrawn from everything that is going to distract the mind. So if there is going to be some distraction, it is not getting into that distraction. Rather than that, it is just witnessing the things that is going on around it. So that witnessing power, what comes, is coming from meditation, is coming from that. In Vipassana, what happens is that they sit for a very long time in silence. And what is the most beautiful thing about sitting in silence for a very long time, just focusing on the breathing, is I think this will be the answer to the second part of the question also. Because you asked whether it's possible to achieve through yoga practices such as pranayama and meditation techniques. It is absolutely possible, because the very first verse in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, because there are 112 techniques in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, but the first one is about the breathing itself. And what we need to understand about pranayama in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, the first one, the first stanza, or the first technique, what it says is that the observation is not on the breathing itself, but when we breathe out and afterwards we breathe in, between the breathing out and breathing in, there was a very small pause. If you could observe it, very, very small pause. And if you can try to focus on that pause, that silence, what you get from that, it can be even other way around also. When you breathe in, you stop, you breathe out, right? And between that breathing in and breathing out, there was a very small pause, and we have to observe that small pause. And each time when you observe that small pause, it's the silence of it is absolutely beautiful. So this is what in pranayama we can do it, observing the for that small pause. Initially there can be awareness on the breathing itself, and then following the prana, how it goes inside you and how it comes out, and observing the temperature of the prana which comes in and goes out, and then observing the prana that's entering your kundalini. These are all a little bit advanced stage techniques, but it's still possible. And then observing the breathing, like how long do you breathe out, how long do you breathe in, and the intervals, the small intervals between the shift from inhalation to exhalation and exhalation to inhalation. When in that point, in that very moment of silence, you can observe it. So that is something that you have to observe. So that is possible through pranayama techniques. And meditation is also the same thing. As I explained in the beginning, that meditation is a process. Is a process. You begin with a technique, you begin with something, or you can just sit quiet, and even that is a meditation. Let a lot of thinking come, let a lot of thoughts comes, because people tell me that they want to meditate, but they think a lot, their mind goes here and there and everything. And don't try to do anything at that moment. Let mind go here and there and everything. Allow the mind to do what it wants to do. But there is a point at which you can make it stop. When you don't care about it anymore, when you try to stop making your mind to moving here and there, then the reality emerges from there. And that's when you will face that silence. Having said that, it's a seven now, and if I take more questions, like, it will be very long, and later on, some of you people, when you watch it, the recording, it will be too long. So I would not like to make it very long for you. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure answering all your questions. We will meet next Wednesday again, and I will answer all the remaining questions that was sent. If you have some new questions, please be free to send to me. And I thanks a lot, and I wish you a good evening, and take care of yourself. Until that, meditate, practice, and think about what I said now, and reflect it and try to put it into practice. Thank you so much. Namaste.